What's up? Welcome to Get Your Life, the podcast. I'm your host, Eric, Get Your Life. I got my girls with me.
It's Davina.
And it's
Heather.
Heather.
Already called.
No.
Yes.
Hey. Thank you guys. Episode 4. We about to get everything going the right way. Episode 4, and we're gonna talk about this one might be personal for a lot of people. First of all, let me tell you guys, before I get into the episode, you gotta go check out our website.
Oh, yes.
Check out our website. It is GetYoLifeThePodcast.com. And my girl Davina got it looking so spectacular. Davina, thank you.
Thank you. She does an
beautiful.
amazing job.
It's beautiful. But so we're gonna talk about how your upbringing, the way you were raised, may be affecting your relationships today.
Absolutely.
Y'all ready to get on it?
Let's go.
Let's do it. First of all, I want to make sure that we're not having any technical difficulties.
Yeah, last episode we were sharing and nobody could watch the live.
Well, that's all right. Not perfect.
No, we're not. So is there technical
I don't know
difficulties?
why. So
They're calling.
they're calling already. And this
That's
this
sign.
episode, definitely we taking calls.
Okay.
Let me know y'all here. Don't forget to drop us the love, drop us a heart, share.
Click like, click, share.
Click, like,
click, share.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Yes, subscribe. all of that. I love it.
Go to the website and subscribe to the email list, too. We need to grow that G thing.
Okay. Day, you want to open us up with this one?
I guess I can. My question I want to ask you guys, what's your thoughts of what it means for your upbringing to have effects on your dating and relationships like?
What does it mean?
Mm-hmm. Like to you.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It's the same one.
Sorry, you guys.
Sorry. Give us a minute, please. Repeat the question again.
What does it mean to
like,
you? Like, what does it mean to
She got
you?
thrown off.
Yeah, no. What does it mean to me? It mean I don't. You go, Eric.
Well, I think a lot of the times as kids, we try to. I mean, it depends on the situation you're in. You try to mirror. Like if you grew up in a household with two parents, they've been married forever. Both of them are going to work and doing the things that society says are the great things or the American family and traditions should be. Then you try to mirror that growing when you become an adult and you get into your own relationships, whether it be your working relationships, your romantic relationships. You try to mirror it, and which is that's not bad, because when you have great examples to come from, you have great examples that's set for you. Of course, you should try to mirror those and do it the same way. But unfortunately, not all of us have great examples. Unfortunately, not all of us had two parents in the household. Some of us, I put this post on my page a few days ago. I wanted to see where everybody was going to chime in and how my followers and friends and family felt about it. And I got so like, oh my God, man, it got emotional, and people opened up like never before. And they're opening up their feelings and to a bunch of people that they don't know, which is, for some people, it's therapeutic. For me, it would have been therapeutic just because you get to hear other people going through the same things that you went through, and people uplifting you. That's what my page is about. I mean, women uplifting other women and just everybody doing positive, great things for each other. But not to get off the subject, I just feel like we have a lot of people that aren't brought up in great environments, and it affects them negatively, and it hurts them as an adult in their relationships. We wonder why we can't keep relationships together, why we're abused, and why you are abusing. Like, I think it's something that you definitely have to talk to people. You definitely have to have therapy. You definitely have to go through counseling to something you need to get through, because you didn't even know that the way your parents didn't raise you, the way the abuse that you were around as a kid has affected you all your life. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on it.
And it could cause self-destruction.
100%.
You think
100%.
you think what you see is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But you could also live in a home where you do have both parents.
But it's still traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because, yeah, you see your dad go to work, you see your mom clean and do what she does, but is there love?
Right.
Are they showing that affection? Are they, are they always arguing? Are they not even communicating? Because then you learn that communication isn't a thing, right?
It's your foundation. Like,
Absolutely.
Right.
Your household, the way you were raised, is your foundation to the rest of your life. And
Right.
So, and these are things in kids, we pay attention, kids pay attention to everything. Even when we don't think they are.
Right.
Like, they pay attention to everything. My kids bring up stuff that I did 15, my daughter's now about to be 20, man, wow. Brings up things that I did 15 years ago that she feel affects her right now. And these are things that I didn't pay attention to. Listen, I grew up without a dad, so I didn't have somebody to look at, right? To see this is what you should be doing with your kids. This is what you should be doing in your household. This is how you raise your kids. I learned, I had to learn on the fly. I learned by just being hands-on.
Yeah.
I knew what I didn't want my kids to feel, right? So I can't say, definitely I know how not having that man in my household affected me or my dad in my household affected me. It made me realize what I did not want my kids to go through ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that foundation is everything.
Yeah, I'd have to agree because it's like seeing the things that my mom used to deal with the men that she dated. And then, when I was growing up, I didn't really have my dad around once we moved away. So it was like I never saw that the way a man is supposed to treat his woman. I never saw that. So growing up, it's like one of those things where I'm still learning the right, the ways that you should be treated versus, like I didn't see it. So now it's like it's all new to me.
But see, what may be right for you may not be right for the next. So you just have to, you're as a woman, as us women that didn't have, the best upbringing, and we lacked in certain ways or whatever, we learn as we grow. There's life lessons. So we become a product of our environment. Is it always negative?
No.
No.
Of course
Is
not.
it always positive?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. But that's where the life lessons come into play. And some of us learn faster. Some of us don't learn at all. But I think for myself, and I watch my best friend's sister here, like we grow every day.
No, that's what it's
day.
about. You have to because none of us are perfect.
Absolutely
no matter
not.
what type of upbringing we had, you have to shape your own life. We can't use that also as a crutch or as an excuse, right? I'm a piece of shit because my dad was a piece of shit. Guess what? As an adult, you know the difference. You know how not to be a piece of shit.
Exactly. So. You have to break the cycle at some point.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. Like, I get it that, my parents didn't have their parents growing up with them to where they did have that guidance and people to teach them how to be parents and, how to raise their kids. I get that, but neither did I. So at the end of the day, somebody has to break the cycle. We're not going to keep using that excuse as that's okay. Like, no, you have to break the cycle at some point.
Right. No, and I get that. Like, that's like with me, like my dad was there. Him and my mom split up when I was 2. And granted, he was there financially and physically. But not having him in the household, my mother, I was born in the 80s. So like anybody born in the 80s, you know what the 80s was about, right?
We do know what the 80s was about.
Yeah.
So, I'm a product of that. So not having my dad in the home, my mom didn't have a backbone. She wanted to be my best friend. And growing up, that was great for me because I could do whatever I
that was
wanted
my
to
mom
do.
too.
Whatever I wanted to do. And so I didn't have that structure. And now fast forward to me being a mother myself, I use that. And I let Tiana, my daughter, be able to voice her opinion. But I'm teaching her how she could voice her opinion in a respectful way and giving her that structure that I didn't get in pushing school and not with school, but education and being smart and knowing who she is. She's mixed.
Breaking the cycle.
Exactly.
You have to.
And that's a key thing. Like and I'm glad you brought up your kids. Because what you grew up in and how you grew up will affect also our children.
Absolutely.
Right? These are things that we don't realize, that we don't see ourselves doing, that is going to affect them. So it's definitely something that we need to, and I'm a stickler. Like I keep saying therapy, I keep saying counseling. Like I feel like it's like there's a stigma around it where people are like, in our community, like, nah, I ain't gonna do it. you need to talk to somebody. Like talking to your homies, talking to your friends, talking to your man or your woman. That's not enough. Like you have to be able to spread or release or express yourself, right, with no judgment.
Absolutely.
Right? With an open mind.
With an open mind, because no matter what, your friends, no matter what they say, at some point they're judging you, and we know how people talking about you behind your back. So that keeps you from even wanting to tell them everything that has happened to you. So you have to have that. I get, and keep it 100, I get so many people in my inbox that just talk to me about real life shit that they feel like they cannot talk to their friends, their family about, because first, they don't really know me, and I'm not gonna judge. And we just have full conversations about shit that goes on in life, where these are people that we need to push counseling, we need to push therapy. So just things that we don't realize that affects our kids. So then they have to get therapy, and now they're doing things that we're like, why does my kid keep doing this? Why is my kid depressed? Why is my kid not talking to me? It's because of the shit that we're showing them. It's how we're bringing them up. We neglect them. It's really because of it's because of stuff that we went through in our youth and that we just didn't get past. Yeah. Hey, don't forget to drop us loves, likes, and shares. Hey, if you guys calling in now, you can call in whenever. We're picking up the phone calls, because this is gonna go on, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna hash this one out. Right. So call in now if you want, but it's gonna be a full conversation, and we're just gonna drop gems, and we're gonna spread some love.
Well, while we wait, what's something that you feel like you've they're gonna call? Oh, never mind.
Hate to cut you off, Day. Hey, thank you for calling. Who's this? Hey, lady, how are you?
Hello.
Good. Ola, so.
Hold on, let me turn my iPad down.
All right, so. Ola Yankee was she was on my post, and she was like, you need to get me on there because I got some shit to say about this one. And I was like, listen, you better have your ass ready, and you better be calling in. Hey, I
got callers, so
I appreciate you. So we got callers calling in. Ola, what you got, babe? That was your dad?
We're all familiar with narcissists. You know how they are. Everything is about me. And so my first view of a man, especially when I became a teenager, was a cheater, a manipulator, and someone who was selfish.
Ooh.
So
he was cold. He was cold.
Oh, cold. My daddy's cold. Peace. So I didn't realize that I was attracting these same type of men until about 3 years ago. And I was like, oh my God. And then I married somebody who was
the same way as your dad.
Like my dad.
Yep. Like that marriage.
That's how
I stayed married for 2 weeks.
What?
I stayed married for 2 weeks.
At least you didn't let it carry out.
Oh,
listen. Here.
Hey, look, y'all would have been watching me on Snap.
But how did you not see all the red flags? How did you not see everything leading up to that being married for 2 weeks? How didn't you see that up front?
Okay, right. So it was a whirlwind situation. It moved very quickly. And it was literally a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde situation, because that's what narcissists do.
100%,
they charm 100%. You to death. Yeah,
Yep.
They charm you to death, and then they give you this illusion that everything is great. And when I tell y'all, as soon as we became man and wife, about a week into it, when we moved into our townhome together, this fool went completely left. And I was like, oh, hell no. Because I'm still from Oakland.
You still from Oakland. No matter where you at.
Don't get it twisted. And so it became a situation where I don't like dealing with police, but I have to call the police on this fool because he would not let me in my house. I was the only one working at the time.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He's laying up. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's laying up at females' houses and texting
you had the worst. You had the worst con.
Them.
Oh man.
What? How
long did y'all
let me
date
tell you
first?
the facts. 3 months.
Oh. Yeah, that was the
From
Yeah.
February,
He charmed the hell out of you in those 3 months.
3 months, that ain't
That's
hard.
what they do.
It ain't hard to charm
But
charm
that's
your
what they
draws
do.
off in 3 months.
Absolutely.
Like that's
right.
listen,
Absolutely.
listen. That's
Yeah.
So
it
it
moves
100%
quickly.
affects you though. 100%.
It does.
It affects you.
It
The
does.
way you were brought up, it affects you because. I mean, what you say? You were attracting guys that were just like your dad, and then you end up marrying a guy that was just like your dad, right? So, and that's the thing. Like I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, baby, for everything.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
We got call after
Thank
call.
you.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
All right.
y'all go
All right,
ahead.
baby.
Peace. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You got
Hey.
another caller?
Before you answer that one, answer it. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Who is this? Where you calling from?
Calling from Fort Worth, Texas.
Who's this?
Hey.
This Crystal.
Hey, Crystal, Texas in the house.
Hey.
Lady, I know, Crystal, I know you got a big story for us. I know you do. You about to tell me how it affects you. Come on, we ready. Let me gear up for this one. Come on.
Yes,
Ready?
come on.
Bet. Okay, check this out. So, yes, my mom and dad was married. What happened was, obviously, my mom didn't want to be married for whatever reason. And this was after the fact that she knew that she was pregnant with me. At first, she came to my dad and asked for an abortion. With that being said, my dad was like, hell no, because, Catholic background don't do abortions. They's like all about kids, so you can't do no abortion type. So he was all about his child and wasn't trying to hear nothing. My mom was like, bump it. I don't know what made her decide to go ahead and get a divorce. At least pursue it, because they didn't get the divorce until after the fact I was born.
Yeah.
My dad had everything taken care of for her, when it was time for her to have me, private doctor, private room, everything. My dad came to the hospital after the fact that she had me because she didn't tell me. I don't know what was going on with my mom. I couldn't tell you. My mom named me a totally different name. Crystal comes from my dad, and Val comes from my mom.
Oh, mom's was on one.
Mom sounds like my mom.
Listen.
When I say she pulled something, I think that's what really broke my dad's spirit. Mm-hmm. For one, I understand. Like he's always been an understanding individual.
So this,
you understand what I'm saying?
Crystal, not to cut you off, this is an example of a toxic woman breaking down a great man. This was really why I wanted Crystal to call, because we talked and she told me about how like her dad was just an amazing dude and her mom just was so. Crystal, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, baby.
No, you're fine. It had to take my dad to help me understand. Because when I heard all of this, because I've heard the side on my mom's side the whole 30 years plus since I've been separated from my dad. And never got any answers. I guess they were sitting right with me as a kid and growing up. When I say that my mom completely snatched me away, my dad left. They both met in Louisiana. My dad was from Cali, though. They owned land in Louisiana down in Baton Rouge. My mom was up northeast. So with that being said, my dad was like, forget it, okay? You ain't snatched me from my only child and this and that. You claiming I can't see her, so I got to head jet on out and go take care of business.
Yep.
My dad was a part of the media productions as well, but he was still keeping tabs on me until my mom called, said, hey, you need to come get your kid. My dad was like, hey, if I come get my kid, I'm doing it the right way.
Boom.
My dad was all about legal.
Boom. I'm really getting custody.
Yeah, he don't play that.
Yeah.
So he got custody. And I remember that day as a little kid being in court with all my folks back at home in Louisiana. We go in court and we talk about my dad. And I'm like, yeah, my dad this and that. Yeah, my dad. Yeah, I would like to go with my dad. They was like, okay, cool. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was given the verdict. You know what I'm saying? So he took me to LA. He flew me to LA. I remember being out there, for 2 years. I was good with my dad. I was everything that needed to be, I guess, that was provided, and I had my grandmother and all my aunties and stuff that I knew that was out there. So I was okay. But of course, there was a part of me that was missing back home.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, somehow, some way, my auntie that stayed out there in LA got in contact with her sister, which is my mom in Dallas.
And said, I know where your baby at.
Hey, that part. And had a cop friend.
Yeah.
Had a cop friend make a fake warrant. They showed up at my dad's door, and I remember this like it was.
Oh, wow.
They showed up at my dad's door with a fake ass warrant, saying that he owed back child support.
Wow.
That wound up getting him arrested, and believe it or not, my mom planned this whole thing. She was right around the corner to this grocery store. They picked me up, took me around the court to go meet her, and we went up to my aunt's house, spent that night, left out of LA, and flew straight to Dallas. My dad never knew where I was at in the state of Texas.
Crystal.
He sued and shut down the state of California for 10 years.
Crystal.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
I don't. Your story is so.
Whoa.
It's so much. It's so much.
It is.
It's so much.
Believe it or not, all that has had an effect on me growing up because staying with my mom.
How could it not have an effect on you?
Right.
Like how could this?
Well, yeah, that security blanket was snatched. And when I say security blanket, when I say I met just about everybody that my mom wound up marrying after my dad, I ran into everybody just like that. They was all abused.
I have to say that toxic parents are worse than absent parents.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, for
Give me an
sure.
absent parent anytime.
Absolutely.
You have no idea.
Give me an absent parent anytime.
It really is. You know, and that's why, you know, I'm glad we're talking about, you know, about our kids because it does matter.
Yes.
I know we ain't been, and there is no perfect parent, but like you were saying, Eric, yeah, there's some things that I've done, you know, growing up as an adult, raising my kids, never knew certain things that I said or what I did in front of them affected them until they got older.
It's going to affect us.
Yeah, it does affect them, and that's why I'm glad my daughter has a balance because me and her dad, we're best friends, even though we're not together.
All about balance.
With that
it's all about balance. You have to balance.
It is all about balance, you know, and I don't have to worry about her being out there because me and him mentally, because of what we've been through separately, individually, we already know what it is.
Yeah, Crystal. Thank you.
I love the communication is everything.
Thank you for your experience, baby. I appreciate you calling in. I knew it was gonna be long. I knew it was gonna be a long one because it's a long one for you. But I appreciate you calling.
Yeah,
we got a few more callers we got to get to, and we got to get the show on the road, baby. But I appreciate you, y'all. Make sure y'all drop some hearts, some love for Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
I appreciate it. Thank you, baby. Have
welcome.
a good one. Go enjoy your kids. Hey, so yeah, I mean, she hit. We appreciate you, baby.
All right.
She touched on a lot of key things. Like first, she had a solid dad, so it's not like all of us men not all of us ain't shit as dads, right? She had a solid man, and in this one she had a toxic mom that just was. I mean, her mama was.
I know those very well.
Lot, right?
I know those very well. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got it. And one of you guys said, I'd rather have
An absent
parent than a toxic parent, because when they are a toxic parent, you are learning those toxic traits and you're picking them up as a kid, right? Because you're a sponge when you're a kid, so you're seeing the shady shit your mom is doing. You're seeing, or your dad, your parents, period, right? You're seeing the shady shit they're doing. You're seeing the arguments. You're seeing the abuse. You're seeing the constant fights, right? You're seeing that, and those are things that you take into your relationships in the future.
Absolutely.
Another thing, growing up like with a single mom as a woman for you guys, I feel like a single mom teaches you guys more to be an independent. Like an independent woman, and a woman that's I'm not gonna depend on a man for nothing, right? I can do this myself. She's not teaching you how to be a wife, right? She's not, and so you're not seeing how to be a wife. That's my point, right? So a lot of people are like, well, why am I not married? Why can't I keep a man? And I feel like for a woman, that's where. Go ahead, Day.
No, you can go ahead. I was just
you jumped in. I'm saying that, like, I see it a lot. A lot of women have dealt with that, being from a single mom and a mom that teach you to be independent as a kid, and you see her hustling herself, right?
Yeah. From my point of view, it wasn't just my mom. It was just like all the women in my family, period. I don't know what happened in that generation where the men weren't around. I don't know all the details, but I do know seeing them and the type of independency that they had, and they didn't need a man for anything. If a man came around, it was just a bonus. But look, I got this handle with or without you. It was empowering, but then at the same time, it affects me today because that's all I saw. So when a man try to come through and he trying to, be the man that he's been trained to be, I'm making him feel less of a man.
Right. 100%.
Because I don't need you. And this is how I was brought up. I don't need a man. I could handle it myself. So it's hard, and it's something that I'm still getting used to because I've never had a man that did step up to that plate. But I've noticed now, and I realize it now, so now I'm trying to tone it back. And yeah, I might not need a man for certain things, but I do need a man at some
So
point.
I'm on the different.
Come on, Heather, bring it. What you got?
My mother was a single mom.
Right.
But she was relationship from relationship depending on what that person could provide. So she wasn't independent because she wanted a man to take care of her.
Yep. Yep.
Which I found myself like, what can you do for me?
Right.
What can you bring to the table? I learned my independency. And is that the word?
Hey.
Independent?
I don't know.
It's gonna be a word today.
I made it up just now. I don't know.
You come to the Get Your Life the podcast show, and we making a words, whatever works.
Like, but because my mom was still in the party life, I was mainly like my dad financially supported, did his child support.
So you had your mom and your dad growing up, or
no? Listen,
they were separate? Okay.
They were separated, but my dad had another family.
Okay.
And like I mean, I remember going to his house. I remember going on vacation.
Yeah.
I never lived with my dad.
Okay.
I didn't like staying all night there. Like when it came nighttime, I got sick and I wanted to go home. But when I went home, I was raised by my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad. And that's where my comfort was. So being in that household, Grandpa worked, Grandma took care of the house.
Okay.
Grandpa came home, dinner was ready, towels.
So you still used to seeing the man taking care of.
The submissiveness of as a woman to take care. Yeah, that's where it comes. But I hold on to that in my relationships. Like I'm a nurturer. I care. I like to, which is a flaw because I give that to people
that don't deserve it. You give it to the wrong people, right? You become a fixer. I want to fix this dude. Like I know he's got the potential. I know he can do it. And then you want to fix it.
That's what my dating life was growing up.
And they don't have it.
Clearly.
You ignore those red flags.
So those are like, although they're good traits, you just you have to weave out.
Definitely. Listen,
use it.
I would say don't ever, if that's who you are, then that's who you are. Don't ever change, right? You project that energy on the right people.
Right.
The right people are there, right? You just project that energy on the right people. And I get a lot of people saying, no, it's so hard. And my response to that is, let me ask you one thing that's worth having that's easy. Give me anything that's worth having that's easy. Nothing, right? Everything that's worth having is hard. Your relationship is going to be hard. To find that person that's perfect for you, not a perfect person, but a perfect person for you.
Exactly.
It's going to be hard, right? So if somebody is working on themselves right now, just like you are, you working on yourself, they're working on themselves too. You don't have to jump in every relationship.
Right. But that was a trait that I learned because my mom was relationship to relationship.
That's why I said it.
So, and it wasn't up until the last couple years when I learned that. Yeah. I learned that about myself, and I'm like, hold on, you got amazing traits, Heather. You're an amazing woman, and you had these great qualities, but I also had to learn that I had a lot of flaws.
Give it to the right person too.
There was things happen, like granted, but that was my fault. I had to take ownership and accountability.
100%. And we do. And we do.
Exactly
and that's my biggest thing I say is, like, all of us had a fucked up upbringing, but we can't use that as an excuse, right? No. You can't use that as an excuse to keep failing. Sometimes you have to take accountability. All the time you have to take accountability and say, all right, I'm gonna get this shit under control. I keep picking the same partner. I keep falling for the same shit. I keep ignoring the same red flags. I'm gonna take accountability. Something has to snap and you say, I need to get this shit together myself, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Whatever I've been through it. I'm not gonna let that define me and define my future, and define my relationships, right?
But the first step is realizing what it is.
Realizing what it is.
Because a lot of people, they don't realize that, or they don't want to admit it. And that's what will cripple you even longer.
Because it's easier to play victim.
Absolutely. Like, I can sit here all day, my dad didn't raise me, my mom didn't take care of me, I'll never find love, I'm going to be this miserable person. I could be that all day, and it won't change anything.
Right.
So at some point, something has to change, and that's admitting the issues first.
Yep.
And I'm not just going to say it's the women, because a lot of times I get beat up when I'm talking about just the women, because there's men out here.
Well,
yes,
no,
men
because
too.
us women
Listen.
we need to understand,
But
like, we have to take ownership of it. And now, granted, there's men that do come around that prey on on women that are weak. Okay, yeah, we're not taking away from that, but at the end of the day, like, you have to take some accountability at some point.
Yeah,
as a woman.
My point is like, for us men, we grow without fathers, and the key, I think the key element in a household for a young boy growing up is having a father.
Absolutely.
I think it's and you mothers do an amazing job, but none of you guys can be a father, right?
And that's not even just for men, though. And that's what we have to realize. It's for women, too. You know what I could have learned from my dad? I feel
100%.
like half of the bullshit that I've been through with men, had I had my dad around, he would have taught me, you are beautiful. You know, like, you don't have to seek love from these type of, like,
Right.
Yep.
learning, getting that at home
Right.
is where it starts. So it's not just about men, but I get your point, but it's not just about men.
Only reason I went men now is because I touched on something about the women, and I just wanted to also talk to my fellas too, because we grow up without our fathers. And listen, like I said, I have a 19-year-old daughter. We have the best relationship ever. Like, she's my best friend, and I think I've tried to show her what you as a woman. These are the things you look for from a man, or these are the things this is the way you should treat yourself. This is the way you should love yourself. This is the way you should. You don't have to take something from somebody. A man, you don't have to count on a man. You always got your dad. So that's, to go back to your point, that's huge. The daughter having the dad, because you don't have to fall for every dude that's got money or says he loves you or he got a nice car. Guess what? Daddy got all that, baby, and you gonna have it too. So you can work on yourself and get this shit for yourself. But we need to go to us brothers, us men, where we grow up without a father. We get abandonment issues, and we don't learn how to run a household. We don't learn how to be teachers of our children. We don't learn how to be providers for our family. We don't learn how to be leaders for our family, right? And we don't uplift our women because we didn't see it, because we don't know it. But we know these things are right. We know these are the things that need to be done in our households. We know these are the things that's going to get us further and make us have a better future. If not for you, do it for your kids. Right?
At some point, the cycle's got to break.
You may not know how it feels or what it feels like to have it,
we
but
know how
you
it feels
know that that's...
We know how it feels not to have it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
we know how it feels not to have it.
Yeah, even though you may not know what it feels like to have it, then you know that that's something that you need.
Yeah,
you can still give it, even though you didn't have a dad.
I know how it feels not to have it, and I knew that I knew this as a kid. I never want my kids to feel like they wasn't gonna have it.
Yep.
Right? I never want them to have that same feeling where they was gonna be like, I don't know if my dad's coming to see me. My dad's not gonna pick me up, bro. No matter what, to my dying breath, you're gonna have your dad. No baby mama, no woman, no courts, no nothing could keep me from my kids. Fellas,
that's very important.
Very.
I feel like growing up, my brothers, they didn't, they didn't have my dad around, so it was one of those things where now they're fathers. And they take care of their kids. And at some point, it's like, yeah, you might not get along with the baby mama, because I know my mom was very toxic, very, very toxic. So I know that probably had a lot to do with why my dad wasn't around. But at the same time, at some point, you have to stop using that as an excuse and figure it out, you know? Like, my brothers didn't have a dad to teach them how to be dads. They knew how it felt to not have a dad around.
So they knew they didn't want that.
refused to put they have daughters. They refused for their daughter. What I would have did for my daddy to do that? Man, I tell you. I ain't gonna lie, when I was 16 and a half, I was like almost 17, and I got pregnant, and that's when my dad actually stepped up to the plate, because my mama wasn't doing her part. But it took me getting pregnant for that to happen.
Hey, we never know when they're going to do it, right? I mean, he did it. That was his turning point.
Yeah.
Right? We give him the little kudos for that. But
had he been around, I probably wouldn't have even
been
ended
pregnant.
up pregnant. Exactly. Because my mama didn't give a damn. She did not give one. And all that affects, how we parent. Like, I don't want my kids to ever feel like that. No, you're going to have both your parents.
And you would think that'd be enough. You would think that'd be enough for people to be like, man, I grew up without my kids, or without my parents, without my mom or my dad, and I never want my kids, because y'all out here having kids, and I'm not talking, this is a general statement. Y'all out here having these kids, and then leaving the kids, not raising these kids. Like these are
need
the same
both
kids that's gonna have therapy. Like, and you don't have to necessarily be together. You don't have to necessarily be together, but just be a factor in your kid's life. Like, how hard?
Teach them the lessons that they need to know. Be a
factor in your kid's life.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And I didn't know what to do. I just knew what I didn't want to happen for my kids. I didn't know what to do, but I got in there and did everything that I felt I needed to do. Like, I was going, I go to my son's basketball games. I try to do everything. I try to be involved with my kids as much as possible, man. Nobody's gonna take me away from my kids. So no matter what we grew up from. So for me, my point is, the way I felt like it affected me was I didn't have the dad there to show me anything. So I felt like I never want my kids to have that feeling. Right? I never want my kids to feel like why George got his dad at the game, but my dad not here.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I never wanted my kids to look up. Even though my damn kids don't want me at their games and shit.
You probably be trying to start fights.
Like, I'm a loud parent.
Yeah,
like, I get out there and be like,
keep your ass at home, daddy.
You just got manhandled, bruh. I go crazy at the game. But, I feel like, God, that's what I wanted. Like, I was playing basketball as a kid, and I look over, I didn't have no dad. And most of the kids, and granted, most of the kids I was playing with didn't have dads either, but shit.
Right.
I wanted my dad.
Where I was at, we was in more of a white dominant town.
So everybody had
They had, so me and my brother, so my brother's playing
Heather,
football and basketball. She was raised with the urban side.
In sports. Now he was there, but
my brothers and like even me, when I was doing cheerleading, that is a sport. I don't care what nobody got to say, but
it's a sport.
It's a sport, okay? But we didn't have
legs
our parents
than a
there,
mofo.
right? We didn't have our parents there to cheer us on, and that type of stuff matters. But like when we become parents, we can't make that our excuse for not coming. We just got to do better, and we got to notice it and just do better. Because I refuse for my kids to feel like that.
Ladies, I think a couple traits you should look out for. You ladies that didn't grow up with your dads, like jealousy, being clingy, insecure. Those are traits from having daddy issues.
Oh yeah, I'm insecure.
Like those are traits from having daddy issues. Jealousy, insecure.
He's saying that as if a man shows these traits, right?
No, I'm saying women. I'm saying women. I'm saying women. Those are traits from having daddy issues. And women or girls, women too. They tend to look for somebody that they felt like that's like their dad. And we got that from, who did we get that from today? We got that from a caller today. Like everybody she started dating was like her dad, her dad was toxic as fuck. Her dad was toxic as fuck, but it didn't matter. She still had daddy issues, and she was still searching for her daddy.
I thought it was her mama that was toxic.
No, that was Crystal. Crystal's mom was toxic, but our first caller.
Oh, yeah, the first caller.
Her daddy, remember, she said her daddy just ain't shit.
Oh, and she married old boy for 2 weeks.
She got married because it's just, hey, we got a caller. We're going to get to that caller. Let's do it. Who is this? Where are you calling from?
Again.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Who's this?
It's Emmy.
Emmy, what's up, Emmy? Where you calling from? Emmy, you calling us? Oh, shit. Emmy ain't got... Emmy, what's up, girl?
No, she's just supporting.
Emmy, what you got, girl? What you got?
Well, I had commented on your post the other day when you had said, what issues have basically been caused from your upbringing, and I was saying, hey, my mom, I had 3 siblings. Yeah. So she had 4 kids, 4 different dads. None of us technically know our dads. I for sure don't know mine. But
I'm sorry, Emmy.
Say,
Emmy, how many different men?
4 different men.
4 different men.
4 kids.
4 kids. Okay.
4 different. Yes.
Okay.
Never been married.
Mama was a Rolling Stone.
Never been married.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't wearing my Rolling Stone shirt today.
She definitely was.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
I would say, just touching on some of the other stuff that you guys were saying as far as like the influence and, what it is that we're showing our kids, that our kids are absorbing like a sponge. Like, I feel like my brothers were absolutely affected by the fact that their dads were not in their life. Mm-hmm. And recently it turned into actually my mom was saying one of my brother's dads was his dad, and it turned out it wasn't his dad, and it was just,
Here's the biggest thing is just because we become adults don't mean we start thinking like adults, right? Just because we get aged don't mean we start thinking logically. And if it was good for my parents, hey, first of all, make sure everybody drop some love for Emmy. Thank you for calling us again. But if my parents felt it was good enough for them, my mama felt it was good enough for her, my daddy felt like it was good enough for him, why can't I do it, right? Like I say, we just because we become adults don't mean we start thinking like adults, right? So and that's
it's a learning.
It's definitely a learning experience. Emmy, thank you for calling us again, baby. I appreciate you. Emmy, I appreciate your continued support. Make sure y'all drop some hearts. Make sure I don't even want to see no likes. I want to see just hearts for Emmy. Thank you, baby.
All hearts.
All hearts. All hearts. All right, Emmy. See.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's all negative. People that grew up with both parents in their houses, they still have they have great lives, and most of the time, depends on really what you're seeing. It's just this was a real personal episode.
Episode number 4, by the way.
This is episode number 4.
Yes.
Episode number 4. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
4.
It's
4 episodes y'all had to deal with me.
Whoa.
Oh, I know. It's not always easy.
I think you look at what you went through as a kid, and
you can learn from it.
If it's not, you learn from it, you grow from it.
That's the ultimate goal.
How do you do that? You have to talk to people, y'all. You have to get the help
there's
because
a problem.
it's things. But the thing is, you have to recognize there's a problem. You never know. You don't know really what the root of the problem is. You don't know where it came from, and you don't even know what the problem is.
Yeah.
You just know that I'm continuously
having the same problem.
Somebody's calling in. Let's do it. Hey, welcome to the show. Who's this?
Hi. This is Elena.
Hey, Arlena, how are you?
Hi, Arlena.
Hello.
I'm good. Hi.
What you got?
I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to mention, I think you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to touch on the lives that people are used to living. Like our parents, they married for all the wrong reasons, and so much was based on foundations of lies and hypocrisy. And so that keeps us from doing what we need to do. And then I wanted to touch on self-love. Because self-love, when people don't love themselves, men or women, in this season, you're going to see a lot of insecurities come up because men are not loving themselves and women are not loving ourselves. We haven't been taught to truly love ourselves. We know how to pretend to love other people, but at the end of the day, how can you love someone if you don't love yourself?
If you don't love yourself.
You're not really. We're mimicking what we thought to be love.
Yep.
So, those two things, if y'all could just talk about them a little bit.
Okay. Let's go. So self-love and...
Self-love and what was the other one?
I think she said...
self-love.
Habits
Self-love is everything. I always talk about self-love. I always talk about loving yourself first. Always. You guys have to take the time. You have to get to know yourself. You have to really get and you have to get deep in there. Like not the surface. I'm talking about really what makes you you. How do you recharge yourself, right? Yeah. How do you want to be loved? Do you even know how to be loved? Do you know how to be in a relationship? No. Work on yourself. Self-love is everything.
So I absolutely
What you think?
Absolutely agree. No, I absolutely agree. I think that's the main ingredient for a successful a successful relationship in all aspects, whether it be business, love, whatever. Like that is, if you have that, then nothing can be taken from you.
Yeah, people fall in love with the idea of love.
The potential. It's a
not
potential.
Actual love, like the potential. Exactly. Now I say, like at this stage in the game, y'all, like you got to know love, not the potential. Like we're not looking for the potentials, we're looking for the love. So it really comes down to your foundation. It comes down to how do you know yourself. All this, and I see a lot of people with this negative stigma about being single, y'all.
No, it's an
It is
amazing
not.
I
thing.
love it.
It is not. Don't take being single as being bad. Don't take it as people don't
Oh,
want
you
you.
single, what's wrong with you?
Bruh, don't take it as that because there's so many happy people that's single and you hit that on the button. What's wrong with me is you.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you're single.
Asking
It's
me
because of
shit
you.
like this.
Exactly. It's because I take this time to learn about yourself. Take this time to really learn what you need for yourself to be to you can be happy by yourself, but take this time to learn what this other person can bring
Right,
to your
'cause that's where
to
you
your
set
situation to make you
standards.
Yes,
You set the bar for what you're willing, for what you need for yourself. And if they can't, and then you can also wing out like what you're able to compromise, because there is you have to compromise in a relationship.
Yes,
but
that's a good one.
there's not like and compromising isn't a bad thing.
No,
it's not a bad thing.
You have to be willing to compromise, but with the right person. And
everything
shit
is with the
that's-
right person. Everything
that's
is learning the right
realistic.
person.
But you
Because
could compromise, but as long as you're not
losing
going against
yourself.
that part.
You can't lose yourself in
No.
the process.
No. So,
Absolutely.
But so when you're by yourself and you're single, you have those conversations with yourself. You know what you want.
You have standards.
You're setting the bar for yourself
Just imagine though having that, learning those traits growing up. Just imagine where you would be at this age. That's what I always go back on. Like, had this been a lesson I learned when I was growing up, early teens, and I wouldn't have went through like so much hardship that I did. Granted, it did make me the person that I am today, but I really wish that I did have specific things that I would have learned earlier on versus having to learn them as a grown ass.
Well, that's what you say. You guys always say I'm growing, and that's what growing is about. That's what growth is about, right?
Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm learning myself. These are things that you have to experience. Like, you have to get the experience to actually learn yourself, and you guys are getting that experience now.
Yeah.
Right?
as long as you learn the life lessons, and because you can have both parents in the home. I know a few that have both
in the
parents
home
and
don't
they
mean it's gonna be great.
successful. Anytime they do wrong, everything's justified. So when they get older into the real world and they're dating, and something goes wrong, they feel like that they become narcissistic.
Oh,
They-
100%.
they
Everything's supposed
don't-
to be given to me. Everything
Yes.
is supposed to,
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean just because you were in a household with love and money and this that you have automatically morals are instilled.
I'm not saying parents are bad just because we're broke. Like, that don't make you a bad parent.
No,
You
but,
could be broke and
I'm
be
sure that
amazing.
there's
Lessons
people
and-
that there's different just because you do have two parents in the household doesn't mean that upbringing is any better.
No, because you can
Absolutely
have
not.
two parents in the house that absolutely show you no love, right? There is love
or
in the
show
house,
you
but
all
they
the
show
love
you no
and all the
love.
money you
They
don't
show
want
you
for
no-
nothing, but you're not.
You're not learning anything. There's certain tools that you need to know in the real life that you're not getting from your
I'm going to say
parents.
you have a better chance at being better in life if you have, these
yeah.
are things that you're saying.
I agree.
If you have two parents in the house that show you love, that can financially get you things that you need and want.
But but that
Are they
only goes so
emotionally and
far.
mentally there for
But
you?
they're also teaching. Like, these parents are also
that's
teaching,
the key
right?
word as a parent.
Like,
you
these-
have to
they're,
teach
they're not showing
your children.
like parents that are and that's if you have two parents in the house that are showing you love, they're also able to get you everything you need financially. When you say showing you love, these parents are teaching you. These parents are teaching you to love, right? These parents are teaching you to grow. These parents are teaching. If they're
Depends on
showing
what kind of love they're teaching them.
if they're showing you love, then 9 times out of 10.
I'm just trying to have an argument here.
No, we don't have to argue on everything. No, I'll take that. Give me two parents in the household that's showing me love and able to support me financially. I'm gonna take that 100% because 9 times out of 10 they are also teaching you. 9 times out of 10 they're also showing you love.
Rare. That's the thing that sucks. I don't know if it was a generation of parents, that's in our generation. I don't know what it was that they lacked, but our grandparents showed us more things than our actual parents did. So at some point,
And
somebody got to change
and
that.
I'm
I'd rather my son say, I
that
learned that
affects
from
you.
my mama.
That affects you, yeah.
My mama taught me
100%.
how to build my credit. My mama
100%.
taught me how to save. Like we say it's our grandparents.
100%.
That wasn't their job.
No.
Yep.
And watching your grandparents was a completely different game. So a lot of people say I got old school. I
Yeah,
got
old soul.
I got old soul. I got
Yeah.
old school morals. I'm old school. Like, you watched your grandmother at home, and and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna say a high percentage of us watched our grandmother at the house, taking care of the house, while grandpa was out doing whatever the fuck he was doing. Right?
Just know he came
Whatever
home
he was
by
doing,
a certain
he came
time,
in.
had
But
his plate ready.
right? So let's not talk about what grandma had to put up with behind closed doors that we
don't
didn't even
know.
right? The infidelity, right?
was big
He's
back
out
then.
gambling. He's out. He had 3-4 women when he was out, right? We didn't know, but she knew, right? And these are the things that she put up with because she was in this situation where, shit, if I do leave, where I'ma go? Or ain't none of these bitches about to have him, right? I didn't build this man up. Ain't none of these bitches about to have him.
Well,
So
that's the difference.
I'm staying.
There's social
right?
media, so
Right.
everything
you
is
get
accessible.
everything's accessible.
Your
But
relationship is everybody else's.
So when you say I'm old school, like that's a lot of like when I think old school, like that's a
compliment.
lot of shit that we saw. We saw grandma putting up with shit that she shouldn't even been putting up with. That a lot of these women right now will not put up with. So that's also that was also how it affects you. Think about that. How that affects you right now.
I would say what we learned from this episode, we need to realize what our faults are.
Yeah.
And
Accountability.
yeah, and not play victim, but try to fix it.
Right.
And granted, it's not going to happen overnight, but first step is realizing it, and then you can figure out the best way to approach a situation. I'm still learning.
We
so
are still
I'm
learning.
trying
You
to let
better
a
keep
man,
learning.
I'm trying to, but trying to let a man be a man and me not having to take control all the time.
But
that's something that I'm trying to learn.
But he has to want to be the man. Like he
That
has to
part.
also
That is very
he had to know that he has some bad traits and some bad toxic shit going on that he learned about, right? That he got some therapy about, that he talking to somebody about. And he has to want to be the man. You can't just say, hey, here, bruh, you the man.
Oh, not to anybody, right.
Because they're not all cut from that cloth, right? We're not all cut from that cloth, so it's got to be the right one. And I feel like it's a conversation we have in the beginning of a relationship. Like, people don't talk about the past. They don't talk about where you come from. You need to talk about where that person's come from.
Says a lot.
You have to talk about where that person's come from because shit, I want to know. I want to know,
makes a huge difference.
was your dad abusing your mom? Because guess what? 85% of the time, if he was abusing if his dad was abusing his mom and he was watching that as a kid, 85% of the time, he becomes the abuser. And guess who becomes the victim?
Me.
I'll tell you one thing. I used to watch my mama get beat up, and I
So you gonna be
refuse for
beating
that.
up somebody?
No, I
okay.
refuse to ever let that become me. You know, like I don't believe in all that. Like I feel like if you get mad enough, walk the fuck away, cool your fucking head, and we'll talk about it later. But I don't know. I just never let somebody get that mad at me, I guess.
Yeah. This was a personal episode.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the callers. Hey, before y'all get out of here, make sure y'all drop some love for the callers.
Yes.
Like nobody else, the callers, y'all made it happen. Y'all was amazing.
And don't
Thank every
forget
single
to
one of y'all.
visit the website.
Yes, go on the website.
Website is GetYoLifeThePodcast.com. Make sure you get on there. Check it out. Roam around.
All of
move
our
around.
links are on there.
Everything
you can
is there.
Follow, watch us on YouTube. You can follow all of our podcasts, followings.
This episode 4, I appreciate everybody that's been there through episode 1.
Yes.
Everybody that's just
We
been
know
there.
who y'all
We
are.
know who y'all are. And when the time comes, we definitely
We
going to
got
bless y'all.
y'all.
We got
Yes,
y'all. Listen,
yes.
follow us on every platform. GYL the podcast, 99% of the time, that's where we're at. You can
Yes.
get on my page because we always having dope conversations on my page.
If you can't be his friend, just at least follow.
Just follow.
'cause
Just
he
follow
got
me.
too many friends.
I really don't have too many friends. Like my son said it the other day. It was like, Dad, you just a popular loner. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's messed
And I
up.
was like, yeah, you're right. I am a popular loner, but that's how I like my life.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I like my life. Y'all,
Energy.
you guys are the
Thank
best.
you so much,
Yes,
everybody.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, we out.
Niggas gotta move off my release day, huh?